We are one win away from 2 3-0s this evening. We expected the series would likely go this way when we got the schedule and we knew what teams we'd be playing today. But I feel like Raven seems to be a better team. So does BlossoM. We talked about Gondar doing really, really well, and everyone's very much hyped about that, and he's lived up to the hype so far. But Diyoung stepping it up, Hammond looking good, NMX playing a different hero, bringing the Kael'thas in. These are cool ideas that I feel like have been working out for Raven. It's not enough to get them the wins they're looking for, but they look to be an improved team. So when the number 7 and number 8 teams in terms of rankings for last season are doing this well already, it feels pretty good.
Yeah.
Feels good, man.
The thumbs up there. I'm also very excited for all other teams, including Raven and BlossoM. Also Darvish, as I said, he will be filling in the role. His Dehaka play were pretty awesome. It was just very nice cleanse coming out from Wiz that all stopped his tongue grab. And I think that really cost them big later on. But he's been getting great plays with his Genji and also Dehaka. I think they just have to work on the teamwork. I think teamwork is not so completed yet when they try to go all the focusing in, when they try to do team fights. I think if they just work on the focusing and the teamwork, the shot calls right in between the team fights, I think they can become a such more stronger team. And as we see the battleground, it is going to be Cursed Hollow. Dehaka will be highly contested once more.
Going to be super important here. Tyrael as well with 2 bosses on the map. Very important for that boss control. So let's see how they draft this one out. Nubrak as well, very similar because of his ability to dive in from any angle to get a big knock-up on such a small area. I think that's a really cool thing about Heroes of the Storm. He's immediately banned. The cool thing about Heroes of the Storm for Mercs is you don't actually last hit them, which is, I think, one of the worst mechanics in all MOBAs. That you could say it creates excitement, but I like the idea of having to control the point at the most important moment, and it creates a lot of tension, right, for AoE and getting everyone into quite literally the brawl. So you see Genji is first picked here, but I just want to say, like, I think that the way that this map was designed, because this map actually mirrors a lot of other MOBAs because of the double boss and things like that. It's really cool how it was designed from the beginning, and the more heroes we have that control these spaces, Falstad, Anubrak, Tyrael, really works well on this map because of the double bosses that are so important and so far away from each other. Very different feel from Warhead Junction, for example, where you have the 2 bosses. Anyway, back to the draft. We'll see if the Malfurion is chosen here. BlossoM not a team that really likes the Stitches Malfurion, so I don't think that's going to be the plan of action here. More likely to be the Dehaka and the Malfurion. So Raven's taking the teamfight approach. Hamlin's going to carry. That's the idea, and now BlossoM's going to look for the macro answer to that. Tassadar Dehaka.
Okay, interesting to start out with Tassadar Dehaka. They have the macro and they have the global macro with Dehaka's Brushstroke and also Tassadar, but they are hiding their DPS. They played Illidan before. Maybe they will this time they will use Vala as their solo ranged assassin, as Nocha can also do Falstad or Zarya to provide extra shielding onto the solo carry. They're hiding it for now. Raven really has to guess and try to snipe on that pick. Interesting. Tassadar Dehaka over everything else.
I think Tyrael is not a terrible pick going into this with Genji and Dragon Blades that we saw last game. You don't really want to try to do a denial pick here. You have ban coming up in just a moment. So, I mean, otherwise, I'm not entirely sure what they're thinking here. It's going to be the Illidan, which will lead into very likely the Tyrael I was talking about. So 2 heavy divers in the Genji and the Illidan.
And they want to take away Malfurion and also Illidan before the ban phase happens. So I think Raven really got maybe, let's see if they were baited into this draft or they have made this ban pick into the perfect snipe. This, I think we'll get some hints off the second ban phase of BlossoM coming in. And also looking at Nochat's face, I think they're fine with it, losing Illidan and both Malfurion.
They banned the Abathur here, very powerful for many different reasons. Obviously, his potential to extra soak, is empowering of both Illidan and Genji for dive and extra attack speed. This is a pretty obvious Oriole ban. In a way, it breaks the Trinity that you and I have always described this as the triple threat of the Oriole, Vala, and the Tassadar together. So when you break one side of it, you know, it can't stand on its own oftentimes. That's why I say it only takes 3 legs to make a table stand, but if you take one away, suddenly the Vala composition collapses, it topples over. So,
and instead of banning Vala, they also have a choice of Lunara and maybe some other picks. So instead of banning Vala or Lunara, because there are 2, banning Ariel seems to be the right choice for Raven right now. They're removing both at the same time, even though they have Tassadar. And
with Illidan taken away, the only other hero that we traditionally see paired with Tassadar is the Tracer. Could still be Greymane, and then perhaps a go for the throat build, a Wisdom Duelist build, but that's such an arbitrary concept at this point even. It's such a nebulous thing to even consider. So I think that's where they're going to have to send this draft, because I don't think the Tracer is going to cut it. Well, they're going for it anyways, with Stitches as well.
Yeah, I think it's more of a takeaway because Malfurion Stitches, because they had to ban Avatar. They're taking it away from Raven because they're scared of the hooks coming in. And the more I think of Ariel ban, it's so smart coming out from Raven, because there was also a possibility of cooldown, which will do a lot of the skill damage onto Illidan and both Genji coming in. The Horrify can mess everything up when they dive in to BlossoM's side. So Ariel ban was the perfect choice.
I think Raven can draft Johanna into this. You blind the Tracer, and then you're like, I have evasion on Illidan, and then you could just all die and you can't do damage. The Stitches, Dahaka. If you imagine the situation where you get a hook. I know Tassadar broken, so much damage, oh my god. You get a hook with Stitches or the Dahaka. Maybe you get both, you link them together. Then who does the burst? Tracer? Not really, unless you have the perfect pulse bomb.
Medivh.
Okay, so this is another way to mitigate that Tracer damage with Medivh having the shields here, which will help protect Illidan in the fight. When his evasion wears off, you give him a shield, and when the shield wears off, he uses evasion, and Illidan becomes somewhat unkillable.
Yeah, also Leyline Seal plus APOC plus Twilight Dream. That's the ultimate wombo combo. They have the combo and also so much die potential coming out from Raven. Just to throw it over to the root of Malfurion, it's going to pair up pretty well from the beginning. I think Raven has a very, very solid pick here.
Going to be Brightwing. The polymorph is the counter to Illidan. It has been for a while, but I just don't like the draft of BlossoM. I can't get behind it. I don't think there's enough damage. I don't think that even with a Stitches hook into a Dahaka tongue grab into a polymorph that we're going to see Illidan die too often. It feels like a very unusual comp. Things went wrong. Raven banned the Ariel, took the Illidan away, then suddenly the Tassadar pick just couldn't stand on its own anymore. I like the draft of Raven. This seems to be their best shot to take a game in this best of 5. We'll see if they can do it as we jump into Cursed Hollow. In blue, Team Raven, Darvish on Genji, Hamlin on Illidan, NMX on Medivh, Diong on Diablo, and Chom on Malfurion.
And in red, BlossoM, who is on Brightwing, Gondar on Stitches, Mora on Dahaka, Dutu on Tracer, and No Chat on Tassadar.
Okay, here we go. This is a map that kind of plays itself when you get a nice advantage. Kind of just parlay that into a boss and then a curse, and there are a lot of timings on this map. We're going to see the 3-man rotation top to push the turrets. This is something that Medivh can give you a little bit of extra vision, some extra information. So Brightwing and Dahaka gives them global control, right? So this is a game that's going to have to be won by macro play from BlossoM, pressure on the lanes, faster rotations, but not so much the team fights. The team fights are going to be where this team is weak. That's why Tassadar is built into his auto attack slow at level 1. And we're going to have to see some really good pulse bombs. That's going to be the burst damage that can't be mitigated by evasion. Can be mitigated, however, by the Medivh shields. If the shield is timed correctly, then the pulse bomb will do absolutely 0 damage.
That's right.
That's a bit worrisome.
Yep, that's exactly right. And I think Medivh pick is a perfect last pick for Raven is because if that pulse bomb hits a target and the entire damage is ignored from one skill, Force of Will, the protection onto his teammate, then they're not going to get a kill. I think Tracer has to risk everything and maybe go for Untouchable at 4. Try to get those stacks and do as much damage as possible with Tassadar available for your team. I think that's possibly the only way of having enough damage to take out multiple targets during a team fight.
I have to agree with you there. Let's see how this plays out, though. I don't want to call BlossoM dead before the game even really starts to kick off. But I do worry going into this one. The Illidan pick was genius because they knew that with first pick, they could then immediately go into the ban on the Ariel, which meant that Vala just wasn't really a viable option anymore. Forced the Tracer pick, and then they had Medivh as the answer to that. It was like Raven just knew all the answers just one step at a time. They were able to find the counters. Diablo in this situation can also really lock down the Tracer as long as he can, provided he can hit the charges, which isn't too difficult to do. It's got a decent range. Gets those stuns on Tracer, locks her into place. Leyline Seal can do very similar things. So Leyline Seal will also, similarly to Void Prison, pair with Apocalypse at post 10. So I like all the things that Raven has done with this draft. Can BlossoM out-rotate them, out-macro them, and out-skill them in team fights? Yes. But on paper, this looks to be the stronger draft. No Chat will have to dimensional shift away.
It's all up to Dudu as he is target down for Illidan, just going all the way in with that protection available onto himself from Medivh. Raven, they seem to be lacking in team play though in game number 2. Let's see if they can make this perfect combo coming out. There is also already a charge and stun coming in. No follow-up CCs, gladly for Tracer that he can just escape from that.
So we're already seeing the first showings of this team composition struggling to team fight. But at the same time, you look at the bot lane, here's a pulse bomb. Okay, gets the pulse bomb, that was a bit of an overextension. You look at the bot lane, Daka's pushed all the way down into the cannon towers and will continue to push this now into the fort. So this is again the trade-off, the macro, the global versus the team fights. The fact that they got that pick with Pulse Bomb is going to have to continue to happen. They weren't able to secure the Tribute, but it's pretty impressive they got that Pulse Bomb. The accuracy on those is going to have to continue to be really good because that's where they're getting the burst damage to finish off the targets. Without it, pretty unlikely. Even seeing Arcane Flare build coming out of Brightwing to add some additional damage. Look at this, even with a poly, killing Hamlin just so hard.
Yeah, that teamwork was pretty good, and it is untouchable for Tracer.
Yeah.
He's going all the way in with the stacks. We'll lose all the stacks if you die, though. That's gonna be very hard once you get it. Once you meet all the CCs, the APOC, the Leyline Seal, you have to dodge every single one of them. It's gonna be a very tough job for Dudu to evade everything.
So that is like 2% left on that fort. These are the extra edges, part of the reason why BlossoM has such an EXP lead. The next wave of minions will kill it because he is going to stay down there. Wiz is the first target here as Hamlin decides to disengage. There's not enough to work with. The hook is good on the Diong.
That hook was almost way too predicted. It was good. And they have a lot of harass though. They have pokes and Medivh can go over the portal every single time. Genji can come in from the side.
Yeah, this fight started off bad for Raven, so BlossoM has this nice positional advantage, but as the fight goes longer here, it's looking a little bit tougher. Mora does rotate in, gets the grab. The Pulse Bomb is good onto Diong. There's just not enough damage follow-up to get the kill. Chom is actually channeling right now. There's the really good Psystorm there to actually knock him away. There's the first kill is onto Illidan, and now the retreat is in full force here for Raven. The bad positioning and overextensions at the beginning of the fight definitely made this a harder one. The second Pulse Bomb onto Diong. Get 2 Pulse Bombs in one team fight. Well done by Dudu. That is going to be all she wrote. 4 untouchable stacks for this. It's a lot of extra damage that pushes them closer to level 10. We could see an early boss after the next team fight. Could even happen as soon as they hit 10 before the next tribute.
Whoa, that looked easy, but that was super calculated from Gondor. He can. I think we need to reevaluate his potentials. I think he is already showing his potentials here in game number 1, 2, and 3.
And let's remember as well, you know, that we're talking about Raven here, right? It historically has been a weaker team in this region, so we will have to reevaluate his skill when we take up against a stronger team. But when you look at his individual plays so far, no matter who they're playing against, if they're playing the EU Champions Fnatic, he's still hitting those same hooks. We're going to see the kill here onto DeYoung. Post 10. It's actually the Force Wall coming out for Tassadar, so they're looking for even more grabs and picks. Not the extra damage from Archon. Could be Emerald Wind from Brightwing, just based on how she's showing it. I don't think it's going to be, but that's like one heavy CC team.
It's possible with Tassadar. I think it's possible, but you do need more heals. I think Blink heal is the way to go. But she's still holding that until Raven hits 10, trying to see what heroics they take. It is Blink heal once more.
Mobility is so important. Emerald Wind can actually ruin a team fight for you too if used incorrectly. The lack of extra heals too with Brightwing here can be painful. No way to contest this boss. We talked about the Tyrael potential pick here. Raven doesn't have it. They don't have Leyline Seal yet without 10. Wouldn't have had Tyrael's Sanctification either, to be fair, at this stage. But the boss is now going to push towards the keep wall. And BlossoM will take this pressure to grab Curse. Here's the Gorge coming in. And Raven, I feel like, had the better draft here. Well, they have just simply been outplayed. And Wiz is now going to have to teleport away. Nearly goes down. Illidan comes in for the dive. The Force Wall is real. Blink heals mobility. We talk about how good it is. APOC comes off here. Allen may be able to escape. Two dead, though.
Lost all his Master's Touch stacks from that, too.
Yeah, the boss is on the keep. They're going to just push the keep. They're willing to trade one member, the support, for a keep. BlossoM says, yeah, and Tribute's coming up. I'm going to get Curse.
Ooh, that's a lot of resource spent for basically one kill, and Brightwing can teleport anytime soon. Ooh, that was a very missed shot call, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, they just didn't realize, I feel like, what the gravity of the situation was with that bot push. The Curse is now live. Suzimura does get caught and eats a lot of damage. The Leyline Seal's real good. But
APOC was already used, so no follow-up here, as this is a 3v5 actually, but making this work. Has a Pulse Bomb available, there's a Pulse Bomb, but
Forza will, every time, going to connect there to block the Pulse Bomb damage when it's available. And they're starting to turn this fight around. Dudu, though, does get the kill. And I may have spoken too soon about turn the fight around. Never mind. So, Curse now on to mid-push. They're just going to go core. There's no minions to protect this. There is no catapult here yet. There's one coming down, of course, the bot lane.
They do have
Respawns are coming in. This is a bit aggressive here, what we're seeing from BlossoM. They want to end this series, though. I don't think they can.
Unless Dudu wants to lose all his stacks. He's getting shield, but I think he's going to lose all his teammates, though.
The slow's coming out from Tassadar. Down goes Brightwing. No more heals here, only the shields. And this was just clearly a mistake by the side of BlossoM. Recall well used here, but Dudu will lose those stacks. Down he goes. This was an overextension on the grandest scale. They wasted the potential of getting a second keep, of getting boss, of getting a massive EXP lead for what? 12% of the core? They lost everybody as well. They were never going to kill the core. And best case scenario, they do a little bit of damage and escape. But they got the worst case scenario. They lose 3 members on the retreat, lose the untouchable stacks, and this is a window for Raven to come back into the game potentially, despite the fact that they lost the keep, and they're going to have that catapult pressure on the bot lane now.
That was way too overstepping the line and overextend. Tracer alone could not core all the way in, as Raven's members were coming back in 5-6 seconds, and you can't really forget that the portal and the and how much you can dive in by Genji and Illidan themselves. But with the portal, they can dive in so much harder. Even though you have the Tastar's wall and you have the blink from Tracer, you just not have enough escape. And I think losing all those stacks will give the chance for Raven to come back here.
Absolutely. And there's just not a lot of damage on BlossoM's side to kill the core itself. So NMX is scouting out the potential boss take here with the short respawn timers at only 11 minutes into the game. Talking about a level 15 when they died BlossoM. They do come back quick enough. Raven was unable to take the boss, and it is going to be boss. Because they were able to invade and steal boss last time, Raven's boss is not able to be taken for a 1-for-1 boss exchange. They have vision of this, but because of the backdoor pressure from Dahaka here in the bot lane, it's tough for them to contest. They are going to commit to it anyways, but Dahaka's soon to be on the core and can always teleport in for the fight. Tribute actually in a really good spawn here for BlossoM as well. First kills onto Malfurion. Gondar, will he survive here? Metamorphosis is real. The APOC goes off. Dragon Blade just not enough yet for Darvish to kill Gondar. Does avoid the hook.
They have so much sustain. They're not going that. They're trying to focus at their best, but their focusing is so off. Illidan and Genji cannot focus on one target, and also because of the sustain heal coming out from Brightwing. I think they should have focused on Brightwing instead, focusing on Stitches for the last 20 seconds. Did not get them any kills, and they also lost a tribute here.
Yeah. That's going to be the kill on the keep, and, you know, this isn't going to be game yet by any means, but the advantage was taken back for BlossoM in a big way. Now the boss is still available. There's free soak top to try to push towards 20. The threatening power of the globals, the Brightwing, but especially the Dahaka that was pressuring the core, which led to this situation in the first place, is now more terrifying with twice the lane pressure that's going to come from catapult minions. G-Clef, this is a rough situation for Raven. They still have it in them to, if they can, use better target selection, better focus firing, and win a team fight, try to turn this game around. But if they can't do that on this fight, it feels like this story's ending has already been written.
Yeah, this is their chance. They spot everyone for the boss, and they're going all the way in as Dahaka and Brightwing is still away. They try to focus on Gondar. Is that going to be enough? They do get the kill finally.
Darvish survives too, because Mora did not come in. He's just looking for the split push here. Tribute spawns. It's actually a good spawn this time for Raven because they got the pick onto Gondar. He's down for nearly another minute. The pairing here with the Twilight Dream as well, going to be the extra kill here. The core is under attack though. They need to come back and deal with this eventually. Hamlin is going to deal with it. Everyone comes home, so they won't be able to boss off of this. And that's the power of getting early keeps. Mora, will he be able to escape? He's already used his adaptation. Don't think he's getting out of this one alive. Not even going to try for it.
I like this. I thought they were going to go for the boss and try to risk the play, but really grabbing onto the Dahaka to get the extra EXP from taking down the heroes. They're slowly catching, not really risking too much for the boss instead. They should have came back for the safe play, and they did. Thankfully.
Yeah.
Thankfully. And Raven, I think this is the door where they can open. They got the kill onto Tracer, all those stacks gone. I don't think Medivh still finished his Master's Touch yet, but
no, I don't think so.
He is about to.
He should. Well, 20 on the horizon. This is a good boss timing for Raven. They could steal the boss of BlossoM, but they're going to have this for their curse point tribute. So BlossoM is now going to have to deal with the boss as well as the tribute. It's spawned next to the boss, which is actually really lucky for BlossoM. But still, they might just let the boss go because they want to prevent the curse. That's more important. Parting Gift going to do some extra damage here. Deong dives in deep. Protection comes out, the Force of Will, but now he doesn't have it for the Pulse Bomb. Pulse Bomb goes on to Hamlin. It is canceled by the transformation there.
But this is the ley line scene going to come out anytime soon. I think this is about time. APOC actually used right before Medivh goes down. Yeah,
outside of the screen there. Mora chasing him down. Gondar will finally die to the Dragon Blade, but it's too little too late. That's 4 dead, and Deong will be chased down. The untouchable stacks here, mounting up the extra damage. That's going to be the team wipe, and that is going to be game. Almost anyone would argue Raven had the better team fighting composition. They had a comp that really empowers both Genji and Illidan. BlossoM missing a lot of DPS with only the Tracer. With the composition they tried to build around the Vala and potentially an Illidan were completely countered in draft by Raven, but they seem to just be so much better mechanically that every team fight was won by them. They win the game 20-11, and they will close out the series 3-0.
Raven has a lot of work to do from what we've seen. They had the right team comp against BlossoM's team comp was all in Tracer, try to get some picks off. Just catching Tracer, could have done it, but Medivh seemed to be perfect from the beginning of the game. We were talking about Medivh seems to be the perfect counter to all the pulse bombs, so all the focus damage with the Force of Will, it was possible, but they ended up really using Force of Will for something else, and the Illidan had to use Metamorphosis, all those escapes to actually get the Pulse Bomb off instead. So I think that costed them big, and really the teamwork, as we've been keep on saying, it's not there together today.
Wiz looked like he saw a ghost in the booth. He was like, wait, you mean we don't just play all 5 games? It's like we got to go home? Oh. Might be him who gets interviewed.
Yeah, I think that's why he was a little surprised.
Well, I think everyone wants to hear from Gondar, though. I think that's what everyone wants to hear.
I want to see him on screen, too.
Good hooks, good Nubarak play, and also the ETC, a little bit unusual, but the execution was good. Remember, we'll have to reevaluate this team when they play against some of the top-tier teams as they move into their next matches, but from what we saw today, they're the better team mechanically. The last game was definitely a bit stinging with the good decision-making in draft by Raven. They just couldn't execute when it mattered most, and the Task Tracer won out in the end. So, well played. We are going to go to that interview in just a moment. We got to take the spooky elevator up to the 17th floor. Spookiest elevator KR. Okay.
That's right, but no one died. It's okay. No one died.
No
it's
one
okay.
died. It's okay.
This
but
is a very new building, so it's not going to happen in the next 100 years. So, but it's very refreshing.
Are you making fun of me? That elevator's spooky.
No.
It's spooky, man. It makes funny noises.
I'm just saying we're not going to have any troubles riding on those elevators, man. I don't want to even go that far. And it was very interesting for us to see. It was just 6 games, but how all the meta shift from MSB really came into KR and is affecting all the teams. We haven't really seen any of the Zebos coming into play. Sergeant Hammer like before. I like this change, and maybe with the upcoming changes, we're gonna see a lot more different picks, along with like L5 and then maybe Black coming into play next weekend. So I'm very excited for Korea right now.
Yeah, obviously we're still on the Diva patch, so a lot of things are going to change with Melthel. I don't know if it was announced when he's going to be playable. I actually don't know. But if he's either going to be next week or the following week, so a new hero coming to the meta, maybe Diva's changes come through, the removal of Bolt and Malfurious healing being reduced. We're going to move into a totally new meta very soon. This is just day 1. The interview is ready, though. Let's see who we are interviewing. It's going to be G-Clef, of course, for the translation. And it is going to be Gondar, I was told, so take it away, G-Clef.
안녕하세요. 네, 안녕하세요. 와, 곤다르 선수예요.
Hello, it is Gondar.
와, 진짜 그 많은 시청자분들이 이 정말 일반 리그, 영웅 리그 뭐 등등해서
A lot of the viewers
잘하는 선수다.
from Hero League,
아마
you're very known to the Koreans that you're really really good player as from Hero League. Also coming here, you really made your play today.
마누바락에다가 거기 매경기 누더기까지 다양한 영웅으로 승리따냈거든요. 어떠세요?
데뷔 전에 MVP.
You win
뭐 떨리거나 긴장되거나 그런 거
ETC
없었어요?
stitches and even a Nubarak.
떨리거나 긴장되는 거 없었고.
I wasn't really nervous today.
한번 대회장에서 게임하고 싶었던 게 있었거든요.
I really wanted to come into competitive and play in LGN.
재밌고 설레고.
It was really actually exciting rather than nervous. Exciting and thrilling.
그리고 최근에 ETC를 좀 많은 선수들이 활용 안 했었는데.
Lots of players actually not using
이런
ETC.
데서는 곤다르 선수 ETC 정말 잘 쓴다고.
From the very beginning, you've been known to all the Korean fans that your ETC is very powerful.
네, 앞에 보시면서. 우리가 그 타이커스랑 말표를 가져갔잖아요.
We took Tychus and Malfurion.
예전 조합처럼 한 번에 물어서 죽이는 식으로.
And we wanted to go really get a pick on single target with those CC available.
네? 아 팀이 다 같이.
팀이 다 같이.
Was that your
와,
idea?
이게
But it was not just my idea, but it was the entire opinion
서로 이제
of the team.
선수들과 소통이 되고 소통이 되고 하다 보니까 그 시너지가 좀 발휘가 되는 것 같아요.
So we can already see the communication of the team really working together.
그리고 개인적으로 궁금했던 게
네.
누더기 굉장히 좋아하시잖아요.
네.
And of course,
네,
you like
그래서
Stitches.
제가 알기로는
From what I know.
잡아먹기 찍을 때는 항상 16레벨에
네.
네, 갈고리 택을 찍는다라고 들었는데 이번에
I heard you often go for the
아,
hook range on
이유가
16.
옛날에는 진짜 사거리 증가를 사거리 증가를 계속 갔는데
But before I used to pick that
지금은
talent.
분쇄가 너무 좋더라고요.
I think,
그
but now the
딜이-
slam build is coming on, so.
개인 취향으로는 사거리를 제일 좋아하긴
사거리를
But
하는데
personally, I
팀을
still
위해서.
do like the range
맞습니다.
range onto the
위해서.
16
팀을 위해서.
talent, but
그러면
it was
이게
for the team.
블라썸이
네.
이제 처음으로 합을 맞추고 나서 이렇게
Got to make
하다
those
보니까
big picture
지난
decisions.
시즌보다 더 업그레이드 됐다는 평가를 지금 받고 있는데
네.
이런 기세도라면 예전
Not just your personal play, your play in the team
그 가능성
as a team here.
팀원들끼리
it's already
어떻게
been-
얘기하고 있어요?
All the Korean viewers are saying
저는-
you have
저는-
adapted into the team perfectly.
우리 블라썸이 7위였잖아요. 근데
And as
그때보다는
BlossoM was 7th
훨씬
place
많이
last
올릴 수 있을
phase,
것 같아요.
I think this phase, I
그러면
think we can climb
어디
up
정도까지?
much
몇
much
위까지?
higher.
좀 이 정도까지 갈 수 있겠다.
네, 저 인터뷰에서 말한 것처럼 3, 4위
As I said in the interview, I think we can go up to third or
엄청난 발전.
even third or
그렇죠.
fourth
예.
place.
자 그러면요 이제 팬분들이 아바투르 인터뷰에서 질문을 한번 보내줬습니다. 아바투르 인터뷰.
And again, Avatar interview?
블라썸이 이
I assume this
분홍색
means these are fan
유니폼을
questions.
만들려고 했다가 그게 좀 무산됐다는 이야기가 있는데
네.
다시 블라썸에서 이 분홍색으로 유니폼을 만들 생각이 있는지
And BlossoM
아,
was
오늘